Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Tales from the Fandom. Today, I am joined by somebody that I happened to stumble across on Instagram because I saw a wonderful cosplay that was shared on somebody else's story, and I had the pleasure of following her, checking out the work that she had posted, and I had to have her come on. So I have Kendra. You may know her as Princess Mahogany in the cosplay community, especially on Instagram or on TikTok. Kendra, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing wonderful. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to come talk to me today about some of the fandoms that you're into.
Of course. Thanks for inviting me too. I really appreciate it.
It is my pleasure. Like I said, one of the things I love about Instagram is getting to stumble across people's work that I happen to not follow. Like, people are sharing stuff all the time on their stories. And I told you that I went back, I was scrolling today. I was like, okay, which picture was it? And it was totally your Starfire picture and your Mermista picture and your Allura picture. And I'm like, I just love all three of those characters. So I'm like, that's like an insta follow for me.
Oh, thank you.
I know that there's some of the characters that we're going to be talking about today, and some of the stuff we're going to be, obviously we'll be talking about cosplay at the end of the podcast. But one of the big fandoms that you are into, that you cosplay from, that has really been super popular the past couple of years, because at one point I was like, why do I see so many of my cosplay friends painting themselves and being these weird colored characters? Little did I know that there's a webcomic called Lore Olympus that was out and people fell in love with it. So, how did you get into Lore Olympus?
Kind of the same way as you did. I started to notice a lot of my cosplay friends were painting themselves pink and green, and I was like, "What is going on here?" And so I just started to pay attention to like what they were saying, and I was like, "Huh, okay, a webcomic," because I've never read webcomics before then. And so I checked it out and I just like instantly like the first day fell in love with like Lore Olympus and ended up becoming like a huge fan of it.
It is something because when I was a wee college kid, and I'm going to date myself here, but when I was a wee college kid back in like the late 1990s,
hmm
I used to read webcomics, but they were nowhere near the level of like what is being put out today. Like, obviously, we're what 20 years removed from that point, 21 years, give or take. So the technology has improved, but I remember reading webcomics and being like, okay, cool, I get their jokes that they're putting out there, but now it's like these incredibly detailed stories and wonderful characters and characters that are rocking different colors at this point, like
right.
brilliant colors.
Yeah. And what's really interesting is that now, I would say at the beginning of this year, the webcomic, especially on the Webtoon app, they've been turned into like K dramas and animated series. And so that's kind of like a new progression of webcomics that they're now being turned into like TV shows because Lore Olympus is actually going to be a Netflix show. So that's really exciting.
Ooh, I had heard that they're becoming a show. I did not know it was going to go onto Netflix.
Yeah. So I'm interested in that one.
Oh, that is wonderful. So you saw your friends, you know, cosplaying as characters, and you're like, "What's that?" But what hooked you to what hooked you to Lore Olympus? What got you to keep reading and going forward with this?
Honestly, it was all because of Persephone, who's the main character of Lore Olympus. Her personality and her story, it's a modern like retelling of the Greek mythology. I really like resonated with it and felt like a connection. And so it was just like really fun reading it because some of the stuff that I've dealt with or gone through, Persephone was going through as well in the story. And so I just felt like a really strong connection to her. And like that's what really kept me going.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people love the character, obviously because it's Greek mythology. I think it's one of those things that you learn by osmosis going through life, is just like the Greek gods and Roman gods, and it's just something that it kind of filters in, and Disney and a lot of different products out there. You're just like kind of absorbing it. So
Mm-hmm.
people are already like, oh, I kind of know who Persephone is, and I know who Hades is. He's the blue guy, right? From Hercules. And but then it's wonderful to see the story progress the way it progresses. And I think one of the things, and again, the eye-catching art, like the decisions that were made for the characters, the character looks, the style, it is absolutely something that you don't expect. And you're like, what is going on? But it just works.
Oh, it definitely does. And just even how each color represents each character, it just fits them well. Like Persephone, I can see her being pink, or I could see Hades being blue, like it just, the color symbolism really fits each character very well.
Now, I have to ask, because it's a prerequisite. Generally, when I talk about fandoms and we get into the different fandoms, I have to ask, like, who just happens to be your favorite character in Lore Olympus?
Oh, definitely Persephone, without a doubt.
It's because you, like you said just a moment ago, you identify with what she is going through or has gone through, and it relates to you, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That's what I thought. I was like, I have good ears. I'm listening.
Yeah, Persephone is definitely my favorite. Hades would probably have to be second, just because he's such a interesting and like compelling character in the webcomics. And I really enjoy reading like that duo.
Now, are you one of the Lore Olympus people who reads ahead, like when it comes? Because I know there's that whole, like, you have to have like credits to like read early access type thing. Are you one of those early access readers, or do you wait for it to come out like whenever it's supposed to come out for everyone?
I wait for the new episodes to come. I do not do fast passes, because when you do a fast pass, the new episodes don't always come out weekly for you. So you do have to have like this patience. And I just imagine myself being impatient, like, oh, I gotta wait 2 more weeks for a new episode. So I do not do that for that reason.
I had talked with somebody they said that they did fast pass because they had something on like their browser, like what, as long as you're using a browser, it builds up like coins or stuff that you can trade in for fast passes. And I was like, man, that's like some dedication right there.
Oh yeah, people, because usually you have to pay to get coins, and sometimes the Webtoons app, they'll do like giveaways and contests just so you can get like free coins. So people are really serious about this stuff.
I haven't read Lore Olympus yet. I know there's a lot of material out there. As far as its publishing, is it like every week, or is it every 2 weeks? How often does it release?
It releases every Saturday. For as like, so the author will have like a season one, maybe like 100 episodes, and so for like every Saturday, a new episode will be aired. And then once it hits at the finale, usually authors will go like on hiatus for like 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then they come back with like a season two, and then it's like weekly updates of a new episode until you hit like a stopping point.
Gotcha. Okay. And it's still going, right? Like there's still more Lore Olympus to come.
Oh yeah, we're probably just midway through the second season right now.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It's already got so much out there too.
Right? And then there's like a novel coming out soon next year, so.
Right, I heard about that, and then you said it's going to be a Netflix show, which that's going to be something. And
Mm-hmm.
I always wonder, especially with adaptations, like how much are they going to cut? What are they going to do? Is it going to be in the same style, like the art style? So really interested to see what like decisions they make with it.
Oh, yeah, definitely, because I think the company who's doing the show is the Jim Henson company. I don't know if I'm saying the name right, but they're known for doing like the Muppets series. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, are they doing the puppet style, or is it going to be animated? So I'm like interested in seeing how this turns out.
Now, not only are you into Lore Olympus, but you had said that you're into like webcomics as a whole, are there any other webcomics that you would recommend checking out?
Oh yeah, so I definitely recommend checking out Midnight Poppyland, Age Matters, Down to Earth, Super Secret. They're all rom-coms, so if you're definitely into like romance type of web comics, like those are my favorites that I always recommend to people.
See, and you got my question before you answered it before I even got to ask, like, which type of comics are you into? Because there's got to be a hook, right? There's always a
hmm
hook, like, oh, is it action or comedy? But you lean towards the rom com side of webcomics. Is there a particular reason that you go that way for what you read?
I don't like to call myself a hopeless romantic. I really hate that, but it's probably like subconsciously the reason why I do that. I just really like reading like romantic comedies. Some of the stories that I recommended, they do have like other genres attached to it. So like with Midnight Poppyland, it's a romance, but it's also a mafia mystery type of
Hmm.
genre. And so there's a lot of things that intertwine, but like the romance is like one of the biggest things in the stories that always like hooks me.
Well, I can totally understand, being into romantic comedies. Like, and it's funny because I used to work at Blockbuster when Blockbuster existed, and that was a
Oh,
thing.
I miss
And
Blockbuster.
I do too. It's very sad at times where it's like, oh, we have so many choices now, and I just miss going to like the Blockbuster and looking at stuff and being like,
Right?
hey, let's pick this movie, and like, two or three people agreeing, and you watch a movie that maybe you'd never heard of, and
hmm
figuring out if you liked it or not. But rom-coms always got made fun of, right? But generally speaking, most people enjoy them.
Yeah, I think they do. I guess they're like me, kind of like embarrassed to admit it, but yeah, I think a big percentage of the population does like rom coms.
Exactly. If you like rom-coms, we both understand, okay? You don't have to admit it publicly, but we both understand what you are going through.
Thank you, thank you.
I guess my last question, especially with webcomics, is because there's a lot, right? And
hmm
I know you're on Webtoon, which is a whole platform for them essentially. How do you find new ones to read, and then how long do you give it before you're like, okay, I'm sticking with this, or I'm done with it? No, I can't go on.
Um, well, the Webtoon app is really good at kind of like giving you personalized recommendations. So I usually go through that, like what's recommended to me. When you first get the app, though, they have like a section where it's like all the genres, and then you could just kind of choose what you like. I also go based off of like the art style. So if their profile picture of the webcomic looks really cool, I'll click on it and just kind of scroll through like one or two episodes to kind of see how the art style is. I also check out the ratings. They have a rating system. And I also read the comics too. I mean, the comments that people leave and
Hmm.
see if, that's something I would like. And then, of course, I like check out an episode or two to see if their writing style is something can stick with.
Awesome. That's really good. And that's a lot of opportunity for checking all across the board to figure out if you like it, if you don't like it,
hmm
especially comments or checking the writing style. Arts, the art style is so it is definitely something where I can grow with the art style if you give me a good story. But then there's definitely some art styles where I'm like, no, I just can't with it.
I'm the same way. I'm really particular in my art styles. Like if something looks too scary, I just can't read it, like there's art, as perfect and good as it is to scare me, like I just can't do it.
Well, what I'll do is with all the ones that you recommended, on top of Lore Olympus, but for people that are listening and you want to go check out the ones that Kendra had listed, I'm going to put a list in the show notes of the ones that you had mentioned, so that way people can go check out those specifically if they're interested. So that way, maybe ease of access and get more people into them.
Yes, that's cool.
Not only are you into Lore Olympus and webcomics, but you're into I'm going to say it, but it's totally because I checked with you. I made sure that I knew where we were going with it.
Mhm.
You're into DC Comics, but caveat: the movies and TV shows,
Yes.
which we know with these companies that started out as specifically like comic book companies like DC and Marvel. Now it's like, well, where did you get into it? Movies, TV shows, video games, comics.
Hmm.
Like they're so accessible at this point. Everyone has such a different access point to them, which makes talking about these fandoms so much fun. So for the DC universe, I'll say, where, like, what show, what movie, where did you get started? How did your like love of DC comics or DC properties come about?
Well, I love DC Comics because that was pretty much my first introduction into really anything that had to do with the geek community, even cosplay. My father is a huge DC Comics fan, and he came across this show called Young Justice that was out like maybe 5 or more years ago on Cartoon Network.
Mm-hmm.
And he suggested I check it out. He thought I would like it. I watched the first and second episode, and I just like absolutely fell in love with this show about teenage superheroes, kind of like Teen Titans, but totally different, like art style, writing style, and they had like different characters in the show. And then I started a blog just solely on the Young Justice animated series, and that's when I started to like really get into the different like artworks people used to make for the show. That's when I came across cosplay because I was trying to figure out what to blog about. And I was like, wow, people actually dress up. And then I even went to Comic-Con and went to the panel for this show. And that was my introduction to DC Comics. It was something that me and my dad can bond over. But then I also really enjoyed the characters and their different storylines.
You hit something that I love, hearing about on the podcast, is having that connection, like that parental connection or the familial connection to something
Mm-hmm.
like that. That is just such a wonderful thing to like be able to share and talk about and be like, oh, like my dad got me into this, or my mom got, something like
Right.
that. Like that is just one, like I love it. I love it
Oh,
so
thank
much.
you.
Major shout out to your dad for getting you into the nerd culture here.
Yes, yes. He always takes the credit. He's like, I'm the one who got you into this stuff. And I'm like, yes, you did. I give you all the credit.
So you started off with Young Justice and oh gosh, the other one, my mind just escaped me. Young Justice, and was just Young Justice, right?
I just started off with Young Justice
Yeah,
first.
okay. Yeah, because I remember when that was airing, and then I think it went away after 2 seasons, and then they just brought it back,
Yes,
right?
they did. Mm-hmm.
That's right. Yeah, okay. So you got into it via Young Justice, but then you exploded out into the world of more. Like there's so much more.
Oh, yeah. Like before Young Justice, I was never into really anything that had to do with the geek community. The only thing that I was really into though was Harry Potter. Like that was probably my only fandom, but
Hmm.
that's because I read the books since like childhood and on up.
Right.
But yeah, Young Justice was the thing that really like opened the universe to other things.
Now, what was it about Young Justice that got you hooked? Because, I always hear about getting in, especially with the animated side, Teen Titans or the Batman series or Superman, Justice League. But you started off with this one. How did it hook you?
I always enjoyed shows that had like characters that were all friends. And so that at first kind of like piqued my interest because I like to watch like all the jokes and the banter and the developing like relationships between all the characters. I really enjoyed the art style. I thought it was like done like in a mature way. And and the writing just really hooked me because even though there was like a lot of action scenes in the episodes, there were a lot of like complex issues were talked about, and we got to see the characters grow. And some of my favorite episodes were when the sidekicks would would interact with like their mentors. So, like Robin and Batman, or Aqualad and Aquaman, And so other DC comic shows, you didn't always get to see that interaction between mentor and protege, and that's something that I really liked.
That is definitely something that I like to see those stories, and I think you see them more like on the comic book side of things, because they don't have the time or the episodes to really be like, here, let's flesh this out. But oh no, we've taken up a whole episode doing that versus doing something else with the team or the group, and progressing their storylines. But that's really nice to hear that, because I know that this is one show that I have not watched, but I've had a number of people tell me that it's one that I need to watch.
Oh yeah, I definitely highly recommend it, especially season 1. That was my like absolute favorite. The other seasons are very good too, but like season 1 is, I think, something that really just pulls at your heart,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I definitely think you should watch it, and if you ever check it out, you got to let me know what you think of it.
Oh, I will definitely let you know. I'll post about it on my Instagram, and I'll tag you. And
Yeah.
I'll be like, look, I'm watching it, and this
Yes.
is what I think about it.
Yes, please do that.
Who's your favorite in the Young Justice crew, if you've got one?
Ooh, well, I've always been a fan of Robin, who later becomes Nightwing, but in the show, I ended up really enjoying Artemis, who ends up being Green Arrow's sidekick.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know that I have a previous guest, I believe, that she loved Young Justice too, and like that was her cosplay character, was Artemis, and she that was her one of her favorite characters to do.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Yeah, Artemis was such a cool character. Like, she always had kind of like this attitude, but she was really good at what she did, and she had like dry humor. And plus, her background story was also like really interesting. So, I'm always excited to meet like other Artemis fans.
Young Justice started it all, but then you moved on, or you added more movies and more TV shows from DC.
Yes. So I started to watch The Flash, which aired on the CW, and I don't watch it anymore. But the first few seasons, I was like heavily into it. I also got into the animated series of Vixen, which
Mm-hmm.
is it's not very much talked about. It was like on the CW for a little bit, but it's one of my favorite animated like series movies about Vixen, because we never really get to see her too much, and so that was really fun to watch.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I had watched a number of people had told me to watch Arrow, so I watched Arrow, and I watched The Flash, and I watched Supergirl.
Yes.
But then after, there's a point, and I can't pinpoint it, where it got to be like, there's just that point of, I'm done. Like I can't watch it anymore. There wasn't really a oh, this is too ridiculous, because I'm watching a comic book show. So, I know it's going to be over the top and ridiculous to begin with.
Hmm.
But there was just that point where it's like, I can't watch it anymore. Like, and I loved what they were doing and enjoyed it, with the cast and the stories that they were doing. But at that same time, it's just like, that's like 3 or 4 hours a week that I'm trying to invest in. I'm not having any fun anymore, but I don't know.
No, I totally understand, and though I used to be a huge fan of those shows, I actually don't watch them anymore. And for me, my problem was, because they also added like Legends of Tomorrow and Black Lightning and
Mm-hmm.
Stargirl. There was just so many shows, and at first I was very happy to watch them because I loved like the DC comic characters. My gripe was that a lot of times they strayed so far from like the actual storylines that were a part of the character, especially in the comic books, that like this was the canon story for the characters. They would stray from it and like change everything up, and it just kind of became like less fun for me to watch,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like, there's all this resource material you guys could be using, and you're just making stuff up out of the blue that doesn't even make sense.
Oh my goodness. I'm right there with you. And I know I always like before the Marvel TV shows that started happening on Disney Plus, I was always like, or on Netflix, because even those I enjoyed. I was always like, man, DC just makes wonderful animated movies and shows. Like, because I love like Batman the animated series,
Hmm.
and I love the Teen Titans. I'm not so much a Teen Titans Go person, fully admit it.
Same here.
Um, but like they just do so well. Like I could watch their animated movies for hours just back to back because I just loved getting to see this world that wasn't the DC real life movies, because not personally not the greatest. Like they've started to get better,
Hmm.
but I just love that animated stuff that they do.
Oh yeah, I think that's probably one of their biggest like areas that they're almost perfect at is the animated movies. My father's a huge fan of those too because he's not a fan of like the TV shows at all, but he will like definitely watch any new animated series that comes out, and I like those too. You know.
If they said, Kendra, you know what, we're gonna make a new animated show, uh, what would you want? What would you be like? Please give this to me. Like character, team. What would you want to see a new animated show of?
Ooh, definitely Vixen. She's been shown in like the live action for like Arrow before, but I would definitely like a standalone show just about her. And also, I mean, I know they have the Titans on like HBO, I think, but they have Nightwing in there.
Hmm.
So I won't say him because he's already in there. But yeah, definitely Vixen for sure.
I definitely have seen a lot of talk about Vixen recently. I thought there was like a standalone comic or some kind of Vixen comic that was like being pitched, or somebody had wanted to write about it, and I'm like, I keep hearing about Vixen for multiple times, and you mentioned that her show that she has, and it's like more like people want more. I keep seeing it, especially on Twitter. It's always like Vixen, 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 Vixen.
No. Yeah, she's actually a really cool character, and if anyone's interested in like getting to know her, I definitely recommend the Vixen animated series. That one was like a lot of fun to watch, and the art style is like really nice too.
That doesn't hurt anything right there.
Right, makes it better.
It does. And I hate to say that, because there's definitely shows that have grown on me as I've watched them, because their story and like the characters are so strong that the art style over, like, I'm like, okay, I got it. I'm good, and I'll enjoy it now. But there's certainly like those shows where I'm like, oh gosh, the art style, I don't know if I can deal with it, and just cross my fingers.
Right, you really have to have like a strong dedication to keep with it to really get like what the actual story is about, you know, because
Hmm.
we're visual like beings, so we like to see things, and especially stuff that we like that we think is like cool or pretty. So if the art style is not really to our flavor, it is kind of hard to like stick to something.
Exactly. I used to be like a really big comic book reader, so I'd go in and pick up my comics every week and spend the big bucks to have them.
Hmm.
And it would always stink. Like, here I am, I'm picking up one of my favorite titles, and they've changed the interior artist, and so I've already bought it. And I'm like, what is this art? Oh my,
No.
like, like, like there were times where I'm like, I can't read it anymore. The art, I
Hmm.
can't take the art. Like, it just turned me off.
And I totally understand that. And I remember comic book artists used to be like really popular. They would get like a lot of fans because art style is so important.
Yeah, it is definitely something. And I know when I go to conventions, well, knock on wood, when I eventually will return to
Oh
conventions,
yeah, yeah.
I always used to walk by them, sitting in their booths and everything. But they're besides the really big popular ones, like they'd just be sitting there. I felt so bad for them, because what they do, like, regardless of if it's like a DC comic artist or a different comic artist, like their work, like they put in work for these
Oh yeah.
comic books,
Hmm.
and they're just sitting there, and I feel bad.
Yeah, I know. I feel bad too. definitely feel like they were a much more appreciated a long time ago. Not so much as now, but hopefully they can get, some more appreciation because they deserve it. They spend so many hours like working on this stuff.
Absolutely. Now, Kendra, we have a special topic coming up here because I don't think I've ever talked to somebody who is like, I like this character and I'm a fan of this character, but I'm not really a fan of like where she came from, which I'm going to ask you about, okay?
Oh my
Because
gosh.
I will say I didn't like this character at first. I was like, oh gosh, like this character is terrible. She's ruining the franchise, right? Like, because that is what people said on the internet, and the internet is a mean place.
Yes.
But then I'm not going to say everybody because everybody it does not count, but she got a following and she has such a wonderful character. Like, you need to go back and watch all the shows with her and read the books and watch the new shows that she's in. But we're going to talk about Star Warsies, I don't know, but Ahsoka Tano.
Yes.
Now, you like Ahsoka?
Mm-hmm.
Not much of a Star Wars fan.
Yes, I'm not the biggest Star Wars fan. I don't hate Star Wars. Like, I watched the movies and I do enjoy cosplaying like other characters from there, but my dedication is to Ahsoka Tano. Like, that is who I am a huge fan of. If someone wants to talk to me about Star Wars, I can only go so far with my knowledge, but Ahsoka, I know a lot more just on her, which I know sounds really weird, but that's just how I am, though.
Now, for somebody, okay, I'm going to try to lay it out, right? Like, for somebody that's not super into Star Wars, Ahsoka Tano is not the character that like jumps out of like, hey, look at me,
Mm-hmm.
become my biggest fan, right? Like, because she's not in that much. I mean, she's in Clone Wars for what, 6 or 7 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
She shows up in the 2nd season of The Mandalorian, and she has a book. And I'm sure she's in the comic books, whatnot. But you ask somebody that has just watched the movies, and they would know nothing about Ahsoka Tano.
Oh yeah, definitely. And the only reason I do know her is, once again, it goes back to my father. He put me onto the Clone Wars, and he said, I think you'll like this character, similar to Young Justice. I watched it because that was my first time ever watching anything about anything about Star Wars aside from like the movie theaters, like going to the movie theaters and watching a movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I just fell in love with her character. I thought she was just so funny. So yeah, that's how that got started. But she's definitely not a character that you would choose right away. I can see someone choosing like Leia or Rey, some character that's more popular.
Right. Like, again, like, because I was like, oh gosh, like, did she even watch the Clone Wars, or like, how did you stumble across Ahsoka Tano? So, did you watch all the Clone Wars?
I watched the Clone Wars. I watched the scenes that she was in for Star Wars Rebels.
Okay.
And obviously The Mandalorian. And then I also read her book. The Disney Lucasfilm Company, they also did like a children's styled animated series. I forgot what it's called, but
I think it's Forces of Destiny or something like that.
Oh yes, that's exactly what it is. She was also in that too, so I watched those episodes as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is it about Ahsoka that you're like, I love you, Star Wars universe be damned?
It's kind of similar to how I feel about Lore Olympus Persephone. I just think Ahsoka's kind of like the character, like we all have characters we're inspired by. And Ahsoka is that for me. So when I think of like strength and resilience, like that is Ahsoka. I also enjoyed that she was Anakin Skywalker's Padawan, and yet she took such a different path from him as she got older, even though he, had a big influence on her. And so I just really like the complexity of her character. And I think she's one of the strongest ones, not just with her powers or fighting skills, but just like with her mental strength and her emotional strength, because she's gone through so much, and then her own master turns into Darth Vader. So that's a lot to take in, and she like handles it very well.
Absolutely. Like I think, and I don't know what season it comes from, and like I told you, I'm not going to be like, oh, quoting the seasons here,
Yeah.
but there's definitely an episode early on in the Clone Wars where it's like Obi-Wan and Anakin are running around doing clone stuff, but Ahsoka's caught in some like underground lab with like gas that's knocking people out, and you gotta escape it. And I think that was like the first time where I had started to appreciate the character and like the character. And I really fell in love with the character as I got like, especially because when I was growing up, or when Clone Wars was out, I wasn't really watching it.
Hmm.
So when Disney Plus came out, I was like, oh, let me binge watch Clone Wars. And that's when I really just fell in love with her character and her character progression, her story arc. And you get like little tidbits in one episode that pick up in another episode, which carry over to the next season. And she becomes this really fleshed out character. And like you said, she is Darth Vader's Padawan who, before the Clone Wars cartoon came out, you're like, oh, like did he even have anybody? Like
Right.
obviously they're not showing it in the movies or anything,
Hmm.
but it's like seeing that relationship and then seeing it deteriorate and go like from Clone Wars to Rebels and Rebels to like Mandalorian, and just seeing like the progression of the character and how much it changed her and how much she maybe even changed him at times.
Hmm. Yeah, that's always kind of like fun to watch and read, and like I like to read some of the theories, like where oh, during this time in the prequels, this is probably where Ahsoka would have been. But I'm kind of similar to you in the way where when I first started to watch Clone Wars and get into Ahsoka Tano, I was like 5 to 7 years late. Like by the time I got into it, like the show had been off for many years. And so I kind of joined the fandom really late, but I wasn't around when people disliked her a lot, but I did read about it.
Yeah. Well, I think it takes Star Wars fans like 20 years to get over stuff sometimes, because with the recent trilogy, like the
Hmm.
sequel trilogy, people are like, man, you know what, Phantom Menace wasn't half bad, or
Oh
Attack of the
yeah.
Clones is. It's always something where it's just like, really, guy, like really, like we're at this place now, you couldn't just appreciate it back then.
Yeah,
But
Star Wars fandom is definitely a very tough fandom to be in sometimes because a lot of people get really like emotional about certain things.
oh yes.
Yeah.
I like to joke that I live on Twitter, and it's one of the fandoms that I will not engage in
Hmm.
on social media. It's not because, like, if like I will engage with it with an individual person that I know, where I'm like, okay, we can talk about this, but in like the mass sense of like, here, let me throw out my Star Wars thought, like, no, absolutely not.
Oh, definitely. When the trilogies, I think that's the one with like Ray and Finn, right?
Yeah, the recent one, yeah.
Yeah. When those movies were coming out, I tried to see what the fandom was saying, and I just ended up having to stop because there was just arguments like every hour of the day, and it just kind of went too far.
Yeah, it is definitely something. I'm like, oh my goodness, everybody calm down. Like,
Right.
not only that, but like, are you watching the same thing that I am? Because like they wouldn't have this attitude, okay? Like they wouldn't be happy. Like our characters that we're loving would not be happy with what you're saying right now.
Exactly. Exactly.
I do have, you've watched all of the Clone Wars, right? Like even the last season that they made last year or early this year, right?
Yes, there's like about for the newest Clone Wars, well, the
Yeah.
recent one, there's about maybe like one or two episodes I did miss, but I pretty much watched all of it.
Okay, like you saw like the 4-part like Revenge of the Sith ending, right? With Ahsoka at the end and Order 66.
Yes, I did.
Okay, because that was phenomenal. I did not realize, like, when we were getting a final season of the Clone Wars, like, that it'd basically be Ahsoka Tano's journey through everything, and let me, be the bomb ass Jedi that she is. But that final, bit with Darth Maul and the ending and Order 66 and all that stuff, and we've given us basically a mini movie, and you could watch Revenge of the Sith at the same time and be like, as that movie's happening, here's Ahsoka dealing with her stuff, and she's like about to go back and be able to hang out with Anakin, and then it's just all over. It's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it.
Oh, I know. Because I before the season came out, I tried preparing myself. I was like, okay, I know this might show up. Everything's gonna be okay. And then when it aired, I was so emotional. Like all that preparing just like kind of went away. Like they did such a good job on finalizing Clone Wars as a series,
Yes.
And you're right. It was very much kind of like watching a movie, even though it was like a series episodes.
Yeah, it was it because I think you still even have the option. I don't know if you have it now, but you had the option of just watching like those last 4 episodes, I believe. I think it's 4 of you can just watch them all together as at like one part now, one
Oh,
thing.
really?
And it's like I think so, or they had the option back when it came out, where it's like here you can watch like the last 4 just all put together without like any commercial, like ad breaks or not ad breaks, but the credits or whatever.
Oh,
But
wow.
it's like oh my, like it's wonderful storytelling. We got Ahsoka and Mandalorian, and
Mhm.
that now we're going to have a TV show with Ahsoka. So I'm super looking forward to seeing more of Ahsoka Tano being out and about in the Star Wars universe.
Oh, same here. I also heard there's rumors that she might make an appearance in the Kenobi TV series
What?
for Disney Plus. So, rumors pop up all the time, but let's hope this one is real because that would be very cool.
Crossing the fingers.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I would be happy to see her pop up. Just to see her as a live action character playing against Ewan McGregor would be super wonderful. And I love I love what Disney Star Wars Disney is doing with their properties, because just as a side note, like the Bad Batch animated show, totally wasn't into it. I was like, why do we even have this show? These characters showed up for like a few episodes, and now you want me to watch a whole series of them? And
Right.
now, like every Friday, I'm like, oh dang, there's a new Bad Batch episode. I've got to watch it.
Yeah, the newer stuff that's been coming out has just really been top notch. And so I remember reading that Lucasfilm is going to focus more on their TV series for Disney Plus rather than like their theatrical releases.
Hmm.
And I mean, now that we're in a pandemic, I think that's actually kind of smart too, since not everyone's going to the movie theaters right now. So it really just works out.
It does, and I think, and here's what, because I've talked about this with a lot of people, especially when we talk Star Wars, is Star Wars has so many different stories that you can tell, so many different genres that you can dive into, because you're playing with a whole galaxy, right? Like
Hmm.
you have so many options of where you can take the story, what you want to do with it, the characters, aliens, whatever, and you have that opportunity. Like Mandalorian was the perfect sci-fi western. Like I fell in love with what they did with him just being like, I'm the bounty hunter and I'm going to go around, doing what I need to do until
Right.
obviously, I got a baby, but I'm going to take the baby with me.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I hope Star Wars kind of continues on with that because I know some of the complaints were that they just focus too much on, the Skywalkers and all that stuff when there's like a whole galaxy of different species. So I think that's why one of the reasons Mandalorian did so well because it was like such new material and
Hmm.
everyone was like so excited to like eat it up.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Kendra, we're gonna talk about the main reason why I stumbled across you, because otherwise I wouldn't know who you are or how to talk to you. But you got into cosplay,
Hmm.
and now here you are. You have a Instagram account and a TikTok account, and you do cosplay of many different characters. And I think you mentioned it at the beginning of the show as we started talking about you getting into like different fandoms and stuff. But how did you get into cosplay? Like what was that thing, like going to the cons and seeing cosplay and being like, I want to do that?
It was definitely when I had my blog for Young Justice, and when I would come across these cosplayers' photos that would do like cosplay for the characters, I was like, "Whoa, that's actually a thing!" It was very new to me, and so as I started to see more photos, it was very interesting. And then once I got to Comic Con for the first time, being around like all those cosplayers, I was like, "Yes, this is something I definitely want to do." And from there, it just kind of like took off.
Now, I just want to clarify, okay? When you talk Comic Con, I assume San Diego Comic Con, like the biggest, baddest comic convention of all time.
Oh yes, that's the one I'm talking about.
That's what I figured. I
Yeah.
was like, you're at like the epicenter of like awesomeness there.
Yeah, when I usually talk about Comic Con, I definitely don't put like San Diego in front. I just, that is the number one for me. So I just say Comic Con.
You're just like Comic Con, and I'm going. You know what? If you don't know what I'm talking about, then get out of here.
Right. But yeah, that was the one I went to for the first time.
So you saw all these people, and you're like, "Dang, I need to do that." So where did you get started? Who was your first character that you did?
The first character I did was this character named Abby Mills, and it was from the Fox TV series Sleepy Hollow.
Okay.
Yeah, and it was just a very simple pedestrian clothing, like just a shirt and t-shirt. And I got my friend to take me to like the park, and she just like took pictures of me, and that was like my first time like ever cosplaying.
Now, out of curiosity, because people who are listening to this might not even know that there's a Sleepy Hollow TV show back in the day, like a couple of, five,
Hmm.
6, 7 years ago. What was it about the character that you're like, I've got to be her?
Because I was thinking of like what character to cosplay, and at the time I was really into the show. I thought it was interesting, like season one. I picked her because I felt like she like looked like me the closest. The actress's name is Nicole Bahari. So she's like a fellow woman of color, and her clothes seemed really easy to like copy. So that's why I did it, because of the easiness.
Gotcha. Now I'm scrolling through, and there you do again number many wonderful characters that you've got. You've done a number of different Starfires. You've done Storm, Ahsoka Tano, uh, Velma, which major kudos. Love Velma.
Thank you.
Anyone who does Velma, I love. Like it's automatic. Like
Thank you. Thank you.
grew up with Scooby Doo, so I love that. You did a wonderful Sansa Stark. Definitely dig that. Apparently, I didn't scroll far enough back.
Yeah.
Instagram, thanks a lot. And of course, who can forget Mermista? Like one of the
Oh
greatest
yeah, yeah.
characters from She-Ra. That's not She-Ra herself. Like that character right there needs her own TV show.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I just really loved her dry, sarcastic humor.
I, I will say I love like the episodes where she's like, "It's a murder mystery. Let's
Oh
figure
yeah.
this out."
That was like one of the best ones.
Now, with all these characters that you do, how do you decide who you're going to do? Is it more that you connect with the character? Is it more that you're like, "Dang, that outfit looks good, and I'm going to do it," or is it a mixture of like both of those combined?
It's definitely a mixture, because I usually like to cosplay characters that I do genuinely like and like I'm a fan of. But a lot of my cosplays, I do closet cosplays. So what they're wearing has a big factor in it, just to make sure that I can actually pull it off. So yeah, if I like them and what they're wearing is like the big decision on if I'm going to cosplay them.
Okay, I do like it. One of the things that blows me away is the people that like you do closet, like you said, you do closet cosplays,
Uh-huh.
or people that do like the Disney bounding or like that, where you get like the colors of the character, but it's in your clothes, and like it's just so fascinating to me as a person who wears like khaki shorts and a t-shirt to imagine people having these closets of just random colored shirts or shorts or skirts. And it's like,
Hmm.
I have become this character out of my closet. Like it's one of like one of these mind bending things for me, just to be like, I can't believe it, but dang, like that is so wonderful that someone can do that.
Well, thank you. And I'm glad you feel that way because, there's always a big debate in the cosplay community if closet cosplays can be considered cosplays because we're not 100% accurate with, how the character looks with their costume. But I definitely think they are cosplays. And it does take a lot of like skill and creativity to work with what you already got to make it look like the character.
It absolutely, like, how can you not look at somebody's picture that does a closet cosplay and they have like a side by side and be like, how is that not cosplay? Like, come on.
Exactly. Yes.
Because you're still getting the shirt, shorts, pants, skirt, the things that make that character, and
Hmm.
you're distilling like that look into the clothes that you're wearing. Like, just because you're not in that outfit doesn't mean that it's no less of a cosplay.
I 100% agree. And I am starting to notice more people actually using body paint as well for their clothes, which I cannot do because I still struggle with body paint. But the people who can draw the clothes onto themselves are like so talented.
That is something I definitely, that like I don't think I've seen that yet, but I'm sure I will at some point. But that is something where if people are doing that, that is super impressive.
Oh, yeah. I think if you go on Instagram and you type in cos paint, so COS, and then paint, you'll probably find like a lot of cosplayers who do that. I've been noticing that they call it cos paint. So
Gotcha. I'll have to take a look for that. Now with your Lore Olympus character, when you do say Persephone, are you doing body paint, or is it like, because I know other Lore Olympus cosplayers do their image in like Photoshop, and they'll clean it up or do it in a photo editor to make them look
hmm.
that color, but not do the body paint.
Yeah, no, I'm doing the body paint.
How
Yeah,
long does that take? Like what is that process like?
it's definitely a hard process, and I'm still learning. It could take me about maybe, well, for Persephone, it's really easy because she's just plain like pink, so it may be like an hour. When I was learning, it was even longer. And when I did my first Persephone cosplay, I didn't even use body paint because I didn't have any. I just like mixed lipstick and eyeshadow together and like put all over my face, which I do not recommend. I would never do that again. Um, that was a mess. But yeah, it could take me about an hour to do the body paint.
Okay. Gosh, I just envision like the process of like washing it off, and it's like a murder show, right? Like all the
Oh,
like the color like draining, circling the drain, and it's like, oh gosh, like I hope
right.
nobody's in the hotel room after me thinking something bad happened here.
Oh yeah, and I don't even know how people can go to conventions in body paint. I've never done it before, but the fact that they can do it, like I really commend them because it gets on everything, like your clothes, the counters. So the fact that they can like neatly still look good while walking like a con is like impressive.
Yeah, it is definitely something. Um, again, you have a number of characters. Do you have any favorites? Like ones that you're like, you know what, this is one of my favorite characters, and I'm super happy with what I put out there in the world.
Mm. In the past, my favorite to cosplay was Alora from Voltron. I would do that like all the time because I just like doing different variations of the character. But then I
Hmm.
ended up getting mad at the series, so I just like completely stopped from the last season. Voltron fans know what I'm talking about. But like now, I definitely like doing human Ahsoka, of course, Persephone. I also like doing Disney characters. So like recently, I did Scar, the villain.
Hmm.
I've been thinking about doing more like Disney. For some reason, I really want to do more like Disney princesses. Like maybe that's from like a childhood thing where it's like always fascinating.
Yeah, I think I saw Ariel, right? Like you had done an Ariel,
Oh
maybe.
yeah, I did Ariel,
Yeah, there's an Ariel.
Tarzan, Jane's Tarzan,
Yes.
or Tarzan's Jane. I said it wrong. Princess Tiana. So yeah, characters like that.
Okay. You're definitely knocking him out of the park. And
Thank you.
there's a wig. Oh gosh, it's the one that you use for Starfire, where it's like orange and yellow. Like that one just it just pops. Like it's like pajam. Let me show you this awesome wig.
Thank you. Yeah, that's one of my best wigs, and I bought it at Party City. So that's like always funny because Party City's not known for like their wigs, but that one was like my highest quality wig. So
Party City represent.
right.
Now, for those who haven't listened to one of my episodes with a cosplayer, we've hit the stage of everybody's got a list, right? Every cosplayer has a list of what I'm going to do this year. What are my goals? What are the costumes that are on the list? Like what is on your list, Kendra? What are cosplays that you're like, I want to do these?
Well, my next few cosplays, I'll be doing collabs with different cosplayers, so that's kind of the things I gotta hit. But for something for like solo work, and it's kind of random, but I really want to do a Mia Thermopolis from Princess Diaries cosplay. Like I want the full on curly, bushy like hair wig and a scooter and like a school uniform. Like I need to buy all that and get it together.
I'm laughing. You can't hear me because I held it in because I was going to say to the kind people that are listening, go back to May 27th of this year and look for the side by sides
Oh.
of Kendra and Anne Hathaway rocking it out and just absolutely wonderful side by side facial expressions because it's just something. It is wonderful, and I fully support the full getting the full Mia.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. I want a scooter and riding down the street, and I want someone to take pictures of me. So,
Yes,
got to get into
yes,
character.
yes. Such an like I can't believe that movie is as old as it is nowadays, and then it like seeing Anne Hathaway go from that to where she is now, like
Oh,
it's
I
it's mind
know.
blowing.
And I think that was her first like big movie she's ever done too, and she really knocked it out the park.
Oh gosh, it is just such a throwback, but so good. Like, I love like those cosplays where it's just like, bam, you see it and you instantly it takes you back to where you saw it from. It's just getting
Oh
those
yeah, definitely.
nostalgia feelings.
I get those from people who do cosplays from the Goofy movie,
Oh my gosh, yes.
and they do like I can't remember. I think his name is Powerline.
Yes. Yes.
Those always make me laugh.
I love seeing that, or I love seeing people do like the cartoons that I grew up on in the 90s, like DuckTales
Oh yeah,
or
yeah.
Rescue Rangers, and it's like, oh gosh, these people are pulling from like my
Way back.
childhood and bringing me like character love, and it's like, gosh, like you might go to a convention and people might not know who you are, but there will be the people there that see you and be like, yes, like that is absolutely 100% excellent.
Oh, definitely. And I always like when people do that because you can really tell that cosplay for them is doing characters that they've loved even like from a long time ago and not necessarily like, oh, this character's popular right now. I gotta cosplay it. Like they have a dedication to their character even if no one knows it.
Exactly. And I think that's one of the things that makes cosplaying great because you'll see the Sailor Moons and you'll see the Harley Quinns and you'll see like the Halos or
Hmm.
the Overwatch characters or the ones that you see a lot of, right? But then you see those people and like you just know, especially if you're on Instagram and you follow people, you just know like how much work went into making those. And I don't want to say niche cosplays, but those cosplays that are like super personal to somebody, and to have them like represent that character, that fandom is just like it's just such a good time seeing that.
Oh, definitely. I think the last time I really felt that feeling seeing someone else cosplay is when they did a cosplay from the TV show. I think it was called Gargoyles.
Oh my gosh, yes.
That takes so much dedication, and I'm like, wow, that's so cool.
Yes, man, what a another show that needs to have some kind of comeback, right?
Oh,
Like,
right. Yes, yes.
gosh, I need to do a rewatch of that show too. Kendra, you have spent a wonderful time with me this evening, and for those people who are like, I want to look at Kendra's pictures and see her on Instagram and see her out there on the internet, where can people find you?
They can find me on Instagram at Princess Mahogany, which is also the same name on TikTok. I also have a Twitter that's at Kenny Davis. And I also do like arts and make products for like my Etsy shop. If anyone wants to check that out, it's specifically geek themed. So sometimes I'll do stuff on Ahsoka, like products and jewelry and home decor, like for Star Wars or Marvel. You can go to blackflowerstore.etsy.com.
Awesome. And I will have the links to those in the show notes and on the Facebook page and the website. So if you're listening, you can absolutely pause and go hit those links and pull it up and everything. I just followed you on Twitter because I didn't know you had a Twitter, so now I got you.
Thank you. I'll make sure to follow you back.
And everyone go give Kendra a follow. Make sure that you do the likes and the shares and the algorithm busting, because people need to see more of your work, because I think it's wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
And I just want to say thank you for hanging out with me and spending time, talking about the stuff that you love, because I personally had an absolutely pleasure getting to talk with you tonight.
Well, thank you so much for inviting me and, giving me this opportunity to talk about the different fandoms and my cosplay. Like, this was my first time ever doing a podcast interview, and it was a blast. I had so much fun. And, it's really great and comfortable talking to you. So hopefully I can continue that friendship with you in the future.
Absolutely. I'm open 24/7, except for between the hours of let's see here, 1:30 a.m. to like 6:00 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's my sleeping time. But
Okay.
other than that, I'm available.
Okay, good. Thanks for letting me know.
Thank you for listening to Tales from the Fandom. Subscribe to us on iTunes or your podcast app of choice. Follow us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/talesfromthefandom to see photos, links, leave feedback, and check out upcoming guests. If you'd like to be a guest, email David at talesfromthefandom@gmail.com.